Okay, today let's make a mini album that is a gatefold. So it's going to be opening on the left side and it will be opening on the right side. And then we're going to have some pages inside that are made out of envelopes. To do this project, I used the Recollections brand of the cards and the envelopes that they sell at Michael's. And the materials you're going to need for this back piece, which is going to be the back of the album, that is 10 by 6.5. And I'll put all this in the description box. 10 inches by 6.5. You only need one of those. You are going to need 5 of the cards that come inside. And the original measurement of those cards is 10 by 6.5. You need 5 of those. They're 10 by 6.5, and they're already scored at the 5-inch mark. You need 5 of these. And the envelopes measure 7 1/4 by 5 1/4, and you are going to need 6 envelopes. 6 envelopes, okay? So, I already have done the left-hand side of my project. So you open it and then you'll see that there are 3 envelopes over here. So we are going to do my right-hand side over here. So to do that, we are going to take one of the pieces, the cards, and it's already scored, remember, at 5, and we are going to score it at 4.5. Okay, so it's already scored at 5. We're going to score it at 4.5. So put the long way. Okay, it's already scored at 5. We're going to score it at 4.5. Okay, you're going to do that to 2 pieces. Remember, I've already done one side. We're just doing the other side. So then you score it. Scoring so it's nice and flat. And so you're going to notice that one side is shorter than the other side. That's totally fine. Once we put it together, it's not going to make any difference. Okay? So that's going to form the other side of the mini. So that's the right-hand cover. So here's the left, and now this is going to be our right. So what I do is on the side, the part that's shorter, I'm going to turn it over onto the back, and I am going to put score tape on there. Am I still on camera? I'm going to put score tape around the outside edge and a couple pieces on the inside, and we're going to adhere that to that 10 by 6.5 inch paper. And for some reason, when I tear score tape, I'm not the best at it. I don't know if I just don't have the swing of it. But I will tell you that the score tape is going to hold it the best. So I'm going to do all 4 sides. Just like so. A couple pieces on the inside. Rip. Oh, that one ripped all right. Okay, so I have my score tape. And now I'm going to adhere that to this side of that 10 by 6.5 paper. So I've already done this side. Now I'm going to place this piece that has the score tape on this, and I'm going to line it up so that there is a gusset now. Remember, because we scored it at 4.5 and it was already scored at 5, so there's are going to be to add for our when we add dimensional stuff. Okay. So I'm going to take off the backing of the score tape. And sometimes I can get the back off really easy, and sometimes I got to work at it. My nails are about the right length, so it's not too terribly hard. Get these out of the way. And so I'm going to turn this a little bit. I'm going to do it this way, and I'm just going to put it at the very end, line it up at the very edge. Okay, open it up, give it a firm rubbing here. Okay, so that's going to form the two covers. So that it's okay that there's a gap on the inside, because that's going to be covered with a piece of paper. So the two pieces don't actually meet, which is totally fine. We're going to fill that gap. You see that? There's a little bit of a gap there. Okay. So now I need to put the pages on the inside, like I've already done on the other side. So this is where you're going to need your envelopes. Now, because my envelopes are a little bit, the size didn't work exactly right, I had to do some trimming. The first thing I want you to do is you are going to place your envelopes on the scoreboard. Okay. And I am going to score at, what is it, 4 7/8? Let me double check. I'm going to score the envelopes at 4 7/8 with the flap open. Okay, so 4 7/8. 4 7/8. Okay, and I'm going to do that to 3 of them because there's going to be 3 pages. So I'm going to do all 3 envelopes at the same time. Get this out of the way. Lay it down. Flap to my right. And 4 7/8. And the third one, 4 7/8. Okay, that went through, but it shouldn't make any difference. Okay, so fold those back on that 4 7/8 score line that you just made, and we're going to burnish. Burnish on the 4 7/8. So I just took the flap that we just did the 4 7/8, and I'm taking that flap and turning it to the back and burnishing. And I'll do that on all 3 for at the same time here. So I took it to the back, and I'm going to burnish. Third one, fold it to the back on that 4 7/8 score line. Burnish, 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 burnish to lay down flat. Okay, so this is how we're going to attach the pages to the book. So with the flap that's on the back, we're actually going to adhere that just up to that score line on the inside, not on the score line, but just up to it. Okay, now you'll notice that my envelopes are too tall, so I'm going to trim those so that they are 6.5 tall. Okay, so right now they're 7 1/4, and I'm going to trim them to 6.5 so that they are the same height as the cover. So 6.5. Now by doing that, that's going to make a pocket at the top. Okay, so I'm going to put these in the trimmer, and I am going to cut the top here so that they are 6.5. Okay, so I'll do that to all 3. 6.5. So it took about this much off, and now I'm going to have an opening that's going to become a pocket. Okay, so I'll do that to the other 3. I'm going to put it in the trimmer, trim at 6.5. Took about this much off. When I glue it, it'll have a little bit of there'll be an opening now at the top. And once we put our decorative designer paper on there, we won't need to worry about that envelope having that opening there. And 6.5. Okay, so once again, the envelopes are 4 7/8 by 6 1/2. Okay, so now I'm going to place score tape on that flap that I turned backwards, all the way around on the flap, and I'll do it to all 3. Go ahead and do this with me. Just around the edges here of that flap. Score tape is the best thing to use when you are putting together, I think, your mini album. Every time I use that stinking pink gun, I waste so much of the adhesive because it gets caught and wrapped, and I don't know what maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe you gotta be smarter than the gun, and that's not me. I don't know. Okay, so on the flap I put the score tape, and now that's what's going to adhere to the album. So I'm going to butt it up against that score line. Remember, we have that 1/2 inch gusset. I'm going to bump it up to there, but not on the score line, otherwise it won't close very well. Okay, so here we go. Take off my score to the backing. I actually got this idea from, I should have looked at her name, a lady on YouTube. She didn't add pockets to hers, and I thought by cutting off the top that would just add more property. So we're going to add tags in our album. So I'll show you how to put this together, and then I will make another video of mine completed. I think that's the easiest. Okay, so the backing is off, and now I'm going to, oops, sorry, butt it up to that score line. Make sure the top and the bottom line up. And push down. So we have a page. Okay. Now I'm going to do the other envelope the same way. I'm going to put score tape on the flap. I'm going to get a new score tape. So I'm trying to do as much crafting as I can before school starts. Teachers here in my district go back August 3rd, which, holy moly, what happened to, well, for a long time it used to be, oh, teachers have 3 months off. That hasn't been for years for us, but it's 2 months off. Still gives me time to get refreshed, but I still do schoolwork in the summer. But I do a ton of crafting too in the summer because that's when I have more time. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and, before I adhere this to the book, I'm going to go ahead and add score tape to my third envelope on the flap. Push it down so that when I take the backing off, the tape stays on the envelope. Some here. I get a lot, usually I buy a lot of score tape at one time, and if you get it from Scrapbookers, Country Craft Creations of Hooper, in Hooper, she has a good deal. Her name's Tamra. She sells it cheap. You can get it other places, but that's where I find that she gives you a good deal, and her shipping is super fast. Okay.